Hi, I'm Louis. I'm head of acquisitions at MyArtBroker, and if you're thinking about buying a Jean-Michel Basquiat print, here are a few things that you might want to bear in mind. Jean-Michel Basquiat was a very important artist in America in the 80s. He was born in 1960 and he passed prematurely in 1988. He was part of the neo-expressionist art movement, and he was a contemporary of Andy Warhol and Keith Haring, whom he was friends with and with whom he collaborated on a number of projects. Jean-Michel Basquiat, his work very frequently featured social commentary on issues of his time. He very frequently used his artwork as a vehicle to address things such as colonialism, class struggle, systems of racism, and for many reasons, his artwork is still very much in demand today, as those issues are still things that are at the forefront of our minds today.
Okay, so it's important to remember with this artist what things were like when he died, which I believe was in 1988 in terms of the art market. We now think of Basquiat as a superstar, and he's very close to transcending the art world to become a major part of popular culture. In America, the main names that fall into this category, I mean, it's a very elite club. They include Andy Warhol, Jackson Pollock, and Georgia O'Keeffe, and perhaps Basquiat at this point. In other words, people are as interested in their art as they are in their lives and their lifestyles. Very few artists end up that way.
There are a number of iconic symbols that are immediately recognizable in Jean-Michel Basquiat's oeuvre. Of course, when you think of Jean-Michel Basquiat, you think of the three-pronged crown, or for example, the limbs and bits and pieces of anatomy, or the copyright symbol, skulls, severed heads, things like that. Demand for Jean-Michel Basquiat prints boomed in 2018 in the United Kingdom after his first major retrospective here, Basquiat Boom for Real, which was held at the Barbican in 2017. Since then, according to the American Pop Report, there has been a 22% increase in the average selling price of Jean-Michel Basquiat prints, and in fact, the average price point for his prints between 2017 and 2023 was just under £100,000.
I've seen them, a few of them, they're good. These are very good fakes. So then the art world started realizing, wow, we've got to pay attention. And in an odd way, faking an artist's work is the greatest compliment. In other words, the market has arrived. It's worth faking these. There's enough money in it. It's a good idea, if you think it's a good idea. But so you have this funny situation where now, wow, they're Basquiat fakes. And the work lends itself to being counterfeited because of Basquiat's style. In other words, this graffiti, these rough lines, the words, people can work with that. A lot of people can draw a skull, but nobody could draw it quite like Basquiat. Basquiat's line was unique. He was preternaturally talented. It was like, when he made a painting, he was like drawing with the paint. So drawing is really the key to identifying a genuine Basquiat. You gotta know his line, its linear quality, how he moves, with the oil stick pastel, so to speak. And it's not easy to do. It's like, you see so many fake drawings especially, where it's like, wow, not bad, but not there.
So Jean-Michel Basquiat, despite having a very short career that spanned approximately 10 years, was actually incredibly prolific. He produced over 1,000 paintings and over 3,000 works on paper during his lifetime. Now, today, we still have a lot of prints that are circulating in the market, but there are also a number of new prints that are being published posthumously by the Basquiat estate. So a few things to bear in mind when acquiring a Jean-Michel Basquiat print is this a print that was produced during his lifetime, or is this a print that was produced posthumously? A lot of the prints that can be found on the market generally tend to focus on Jean-Michel Basquiat's main years of production, namely 1981 to 1984. His prints can be categorized in 4 distinct categories: early street art, anatomical studies, heads and heroes, and collaborations with Andy Warhol. Condition is key when acquiring a Jean-Michel Basquiat print. So obviously, if you acquire a print that was created during the artist's lifetime, it's more likely that there will be some condition issues. Whereas if you acquire a print that was published posthumously by the Jean-Michel Basquiat estate, it's most likely that it'll be in mint condition. So when acquiring a print that was produced during his lifetime, you might want to bear in mind things such as, was it kept out of the sun? Was it kept flat? Was it framed? Was it protected by UV protective glass? Have a look at a number of things such as, has the paper yellowed at all? Has it undulated at all? Has it suffered from humidity? Is there any water damage? Is there any foxing or any molding? Make sure that if there's a signature, it hasn't been tampered with or that it hasn't faded away with time. So it's actually quite frequent to find prints by Jean-Michel Basquiat that are signed and others that are unsigned. So the majority of the prints that he produced during his lifetime are signed and dated in pencil by himself. However, for posthumous prints, most of them have been signed by his estate. Many of them have been signed by Gérard Basquiat, and generally they will also be stamped on the back. That's not necessarily the case for all of them, but it is the case for many of them. Now, ideally, acquiring a print that is signed by the artist is most desirable. However, if you come across a print that you do wish to acquire and that has not been signed by the artist, just make sure that you have all of the paperwork associated to it, namely a certificate of authenticity, and upon purchase, make sure that you get a proof of purchase and that you keep that.
When it comes to Basquiat authentication and provenance, there are, once you get work through, the girlfriends and the drug dealers and the cash and carry pieces, there are recognized provenances that are universally accepted in that market. They range from, of course, his original dealer, Anina Nosé. That's a first-rate provenance. I would say, of course, Gagosian, who did 2 shows in Los Angeles. Mary Boone, who did, I think, 2 shows also in New York. His biggest deal in Europe was Bruno Bischofberger. That's a great provenance. So there are, galleries, and again, I hate to keep talking about Vrej Bohemian. In most cases, it's fine, not all, but most. So, there are galleries that everyone's heard of that are closely associated with Basquiat that, are good things to have.
Most of the prints produced during Basquiat's lifetime are in a smaller edition size, and those are especially sought after by collectors. Prints produced by the Jean-Michel Basquiat estate tend to be in a larger edition, and that doesn't make them any less valuable, but it does make them less rare. So some of Basquiat's most famous and prized prints include full portfolios, complete sets with matching edition numbers. So for example, Anatomy, which is a complete set with 18 signed prints that were produced in 1982. Likewise, Untitled from 1982 is one of his most expensive prints to ever have been sold at auction. It reached $2.9 million, which is a record. This specific print is an edition of 10, so it's a very low edition total, which makes it very desirable. And finally, Back of the Neck from 1983 is also particularly desirable by collectors as it features all of his cornerstone symbols. It's a very large print, actually. It's based off of an original artwork that is over 2.5 meters wide, which is absolutely staggering. And the print itself is over 250 centimeters wide, so gotta make sure that you have space for that. If you're looking to buy a Basquiat print, you can do so at auction, in an art gallery, online, or via a broker, meaning that a private sale can be conducted. So if you're looking to buy a Basquiat print at auction, a few things to bear in mind are the price will be determined by a range, so you'll have a low estimate and a high estimate. Once you've placed that bid and that you've secured the artwork, just bear in mind that you will have to pay for a buyer's premium. Generally, that'll be about 25% on top of the hammer price. If you're looking to buy an artwork by Jean-Michel Basquiat in an art gallery, just make sure that it's a reputable gallery that is known for selling those types of prints and maybe do a little bit of research on the price point before finalizing the sale. Obviously, it's a free market, so galleries can determine price points pretty much as they wish based off of their client base and what they think that they can get for specific prints. If you're looking to purchase a Jean-Michel Basquiat artwork online, there are a few pitfalls, so just beware of a number of things. First of all, make sure that you will get a certificate of authenticity, make sure that there is a full provenance associated with the piece, and once again, if the deal is too good to be true, if the price point is significantly below fair market value, then it's probably a scam. Just walk away from it. You might end up with a fake Jean-Michel Basquiat on your hands, and that's no good. Finally, you can also go through an online brokerage, which means that a Jean-Michel Basquiat art dealer will be able to source a specific piece for you, and then we'll be able to conduct a private sale. Generally, there are no fees associated to doing that, so it's a good way of acquiring a piece for fair market value. Jean-Michel Basquiat prints have never been in such high demand, so if you're looking to acquire a piece, now might be the time.